All right. What is Shadowbane? Why do I think you should play it? Shadowbane is a sandbox MMO, and I think you guys would like it, or people would like it, because it scratches the itch that a lot of people have with games, which is it seems to, seems too streamlined, meaning it feels like you're on this scripted event where it's like, I'm going to go here, you're going to do these quests, you're going to do this end game content. That is what it is. Shadowbane is very open-ended. Um, every class has access to up to 4 discipline runes, which are these, which change your character when you create your character, right? So if I look at this, um, my character, right? I'm a go here. I'm a half giant. I'm a fighter, and then at level 10 you promote. I chose Crusader, and then at character creation I chose these Warlord's Page, Tough as Nails, Precise, right? Raised by dwarves. Um, these are stat effects to my character that I was like, oh, I want to be a little tankier, right? So I took a Constitution rune, which is going to give me health and stamina. I took Tough as Nails, which is health recovery and flat health, and then I took an ATR rune, um, because attack rating in this game is how you hit people. So if somebody's defense exceeds your attack rating, you can't hit them. So like this guy, Krieg Valor, um, I'm never going to be able to hit him. He would just whoop my ass. He's a thief. I'm a crusader. Even if I could hit him, thieves have multiple ways to lower your attack rating with like spells like coughing gas, stuff like that, where it's an area of effect, reduce the target's attack rating by 50%, right? Stuff like that. Um, Thieves can be really nasty in duels, but in like a group setting, like let's say me and a few of you guys were running around, and one of you was on a thief, you can lower his defense too. Now I can hit him, and I will chew him to shreds, right? I'm gonna hit him for I'm not even buffed right now. Just my Crusader build alone, I'm gonna hit for 300, and then if I'm using an ability, right, like I can, well, of course it's in a peace realm, but like this is gonna boost that by 136%, and then I have a exposed to slashing, which is gonna make him take 36% more damage from that. So use this first, then I'd use this, and now I'm gonna hit for 330 up to 313 plus 136%, right? So like 800 or whatever that is that I can smack him for. He probably has like 2100 health to 2500 health. So a third of his health per hit if I can hit him. So the game favors cooperation, team play, etc. Right? You have people who are on like this is a ranger and he is using a Riki specific weapons, right? These are flame fists. These are specific to his race, and it gives him the ability to dual wield without needing to take ambidexterity, which is super cool. And it gives him a whole host like of weapon powers. So I've got 10, right? 5 normal sword, 5 great sword. He gets like 13 because he gets the unarmed weapon powers as well as the Sundancer weapon powers. Um, you have priests, you have druids, you have all these different classes, and they all have their role to fill. But each one, unlike in a game like World of Warcraft, where you're a priest and you're a healer, right? Like that is all you can do. You sit in the back and you just stare at health bars all day. Like, sure, that's what you're gonna do in mines, but let's say you wanted to play a priest because you're like, you know what, that's just that's my drive. You could make, maybe an elf priest and take the Blade Weaver, and now you're a dual wielding priest with, a stun or whatever, because priests have really good. They have like personal or target dispel debuff. They have like a 15-second stun or something crazy. Um, these are all you can take this stuff into thought and be like, unlike traditional MMOs, you can be like, what do I want to do, right? Maybe I want to be a crusader and I want to use a bow. Why? Because crusaders have a really gnarly proc, right? This consecrate weapon. I put this on my sword, and now my sword has a chance to deal 700 holy damage, right? So you want to use a bow and put that on a bow and plink from a distance and shoot people with holy damage? You can do that. um, the game has so much freedom to, decide how you want to build your character, which I think is really fun. Um, the general core mechanics of the game is all of these little cities. These are player-driven, player-placed cities. So somebody came over here and placed these and said like, hey, this is where I want to put my city, and they're going to put walls and forges and trainers and stuff like that. And you could take that, right? So let's say 20 of you, 19 of you guys joined me and we had 20 people and we wanted this city. We were like, nope, we want that spot. We could go kill the R8 mob, who's like a big raid boss. It takes like 20 people to kill it. Get a R8 Bane scroll, and then Bane the rank 8, right? R meaning rank 8 town. And if we win, we can capture the city, and now it's our city. We own it, and we can teleport to it and do everything. Um, and that in and of itself is the core dynamic of Shadowbane, right? You place a city, and you are kill or be killed, and you're using these zones called ore mines. It's like over here, Valkos Wilds. This is a leveling zone, but in every leveling zone is a mine that you can capture, and it generates resources for your city that you can use to roll gear, uh, you know, to make those, these weapons and these armors and stuff. Um, but that's kind of the general idea. It's super sandboxy. Yes, it's dated. Yes, it's click to move. But the actual core mechanics of the game is super, super fun. I encourage anybody to try it, right? The worst that could happen is we get in and we spend a few hours leveling, and then you're like, this is not for me, and you just don't play it again. But um, in this game, 10 players, like just adding 10 people is a huge like change to this game because this game was in 2003. It wasn't even that popular, but if you have 1,000 people playing, for example, which I think it's like 200 something right now, you will never not run into somebody. Right? You running around in these zones. Like if we went to this zone, almost certainly we'd find 10 to 15 people fighting in this zone. Um, and at mines, right? There's only one mine open right now. So anybody who wants that mine is going to go fight for that mine. So let's say Defiance went for it, right? Nation Defiance. TA went for it. That's 20 people to 40 people, however many they bring, fighting. And if 10 to 20 of us went in and played, that'd be, another group fighting. And it's just more people makes everything better. And the whole game is PvP, right? So um, it's super fun. It's high skill too. Like a good player and like how you use your abilities is such a big, way more important than like what gear you have, which I think is super cool because in a lot of games, it's more emphasis on like who has the best gear. And this is more like, I've been on a level 40 in gear from like these neutral vendors, and I've killed level 70s because they just didn't know how to play their class well, or they were, they used stuff out of order, or maybe like I'm a half giant, right? So I have this personal power block stun immunity that lasts for a minute. Um, if I'm using, let's say I wasn't a half giant and somebody came up with like a hammer or an axe based weapon, they have multiple power blocks and stuns that when you get power blocked, it's like the name implies, you literally can't cast a power. So if I'm at a quarter health and somebody power blocks me, I can't heal, right? I have a big percent heal with a long cooldown. This basically resets me back to full. But if I get power blocked at the wrong time because I wasn't paying attention or I didn't use my violent rage, I'm just dead. And people do that all the time, right? They make mistakes. They're human beings. So it's way more important how you play than what you're playing with, which for me, that's really good because I don't have all the time in the world. I don't want to spend hours and hours and hours grinding for the best in slot gear. I want competitive gear and I want to go fight and kill people. And that's what this game allows you to do. So it's really good for people who don't have a lot of time, who don't want to spend weeks and weeks and weeks grinding for best in slot gear, and they just want to get in, fight people, or get in and fight monsters and do, big raid events like the R8 mobs, which are these big world bosses. They may take 10 to 20 of you working coordinated, doing taunt swaps and healers dispelling fire dots and poison dots and stuff like that. So there's kind of a little bit of everything for everybody. I just encourage everyone to give it a try. It's really fun. And like I said, if let's say 10, 20, 30 of us played, we could all split into our own groups of 10, and I'm not even kidding, you would have so much fun just doing 10-man skirmishes for mines and stuff. It is a blast. It's free. I can walk anybody through who's interested in how to get it set up. And yeah, that's it.